You still get typecast being cast in a particular way because you come from
In a Maharashtrian.
in a state, or maybe you speak a particular language.
Priya is so scared, and that was great for us.
Horror exists everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
You need jump scares, but jump scares doesn't make a horror show. You need to make it emotionally relevant.
Yeah.
You need to make it relevant in terms of time.
When I was reading the script, a weird feeling is that it's a supernatural horror, but still there are some parts where you relate to the emotionality and the humanness of that.
Hi, welcome to Screen.
Thank you.
So, you're coming up with your show Andhera on Prime Video on August 14. But I don't know if you know, but there was an Andhera named movie which was made by Raaghav brothers back in 1975. So I just want to ask, from the horror then to the horror now, how have we come a long way? What has changed? What hasn't, according to you? I mean, we've all grown up on horror movies.
I haven't. I definitely have. I mean, I can't say that now that I am a part of this series, but
Yeah.
I think I did this because I could explore that genre as an actor and as a performer, but that's not something that, because I really get scared.
Yeah.
So the only two movies that I remember watching which are horror movies are Raat
Yeah.
and Con.
Okay.
That's it.
Those are great ones.
Those are great ones.
Yeah.
But uske baad then I decided that I won't be able to sleep in the night. Even this show's Andhera script I couldn't read in the night. I read the first two
Wow.
episodes, and then I realized that I don't think this is going to give me nightmares. So it's better I read it in the daytime. But I think your question, sir, will be able to answer better.
So, Priya first. Priya is so scared, and that was great for us. Although she plays a fearless person, so it's
Yeah.
like her character is completely different from
She
her.
plays a cop.
She plays a
Yeah.
fearless cop,
Yeah.
and she's not scared. in
Very
the show
opposite
at all.
to what I am.
So she's done a great job of that. But the real Priya is very scared. And on the, we had a lot of fun on the shoot because she was scared every time something spooky was going on, and she was our first audience.
Yeah.
And that worked great for us. And regarding your question, I think the Ramsey brothers have a impeccable, legacy. They've made some of the best B horror films, what we now call B horror,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a cult by itself. And I wouldn't want to comment on that show, but I can tell you that our show is very, very different from that. It's a contemporary, modern horror story. It's a mystery show. It's a investigative supernatural horror show, and essentially it's a show which talks about the darkness in the city, the darkness all around us, and how it can kind of affect our soul, and it seeps into us unknowingly. And literally and metaphorically, it talks about what if the darkness comes alive, So that's what the show is about.
But in a modern show like, say, a Cough or a Andhera, what are those hacks of horror that you have to stick to just to just to subscribe? If you've subscribed to that genre, then you have to, these things have to be there. And what are those that you can do away with time according to the themes of your show?
So can I answer that?
Of
Yes.
course, the maker only has to answer this question.
So the Gaurav actually is a great person, the creator of the show,
Yeah.
to talk about this, because he's fully into the genre.
Okay.
And he was a great window into the world for all of us,
Okay.
And I'm a fan of the horror genre, but not as much as Gaurav is. So he was always there, we can't do this because this is not the way it happens.
Yeah.
And he's so excited about the genre. And there are tropes, horror does have tropes, but the idea is how do you reinvent them? And, you need jump scares, but jump scares doesn't make a horror show. You need to make it emotionally relevant.
Yeah.
You need to make it relevant in terms of time. You need to you need the audience to see themselves experiencing this. And I think our show does all of these in a very good way.
No, I would just add one thing. As when I was reading the script, a weird feeling is that it's a supernatural horror, but still there are some parts where you relate to the emotionality and the humanness of that. And I think that's very important. That's where the audiences also get involved in the story. They go along with the journey of the characters, and I think that's what makes every story watchable.
Yeah. I feel like the best of horror shows or movies are somewhere between, say, supernatural and psychological, because you don't know till like it's in your head or is it actually real. I think that's everyday horror for a lot of us.
The horror exists everywhere all the time.
But you spoke about how the audiences want to see themselves in the characters. So when you're playing that tough cop, so when are you playing that tough cop, and when, because I think the audience is also discovering the show or the story through your character. So when is it, because how do you handle that dichotomy that I am, as an audience member, I am very scared, but as a character I'm supposed to be very tough. So how did you navigate that?
Okay, see, obviously I love reading. So when I was reading the script, I was kind of in the audience's space. But when you're actually performing, you go into a lot of technicalities of it. So the horror, you have to create that experience for the audiences to feel it, and you have to actually make believe that you're actually that scared. But in that moment, you know how technical it is, you know how it's shot. So I don't feel I ever felt that yahan pe abhi bhoot hai. But I think it's just that with Kalpana as a character, there are two things that I really connect with. First is that she's very persistent and very determined. And second is that there is it's a very unique, unidentifiable vulnerability in her that actually helps her find what she is, the journey that she has chosen for herself. So I think that makes it more unique.
And also, just to add to that, because Priya is a very nuanced performer. She's impeccable at the craft of performing. So she really gets into the skin of the character, and when she starts performing, she's not really thinking of she is the character. So for us, that made the job very easy, in the process, because she was the character. She was not thinking about audience. She was not thinking about anything apart from the fact, what would Kalpana think in this situation? And that makes the job of everybody around her very easy. And horror as a genre is very challenging, because there is a certain amount of craft involved. There is a certain amount of technicality involved with building the scares or, building suspense or things like that. But you have to completely cut yourself from all that and remain connected to the emotion of the character, emotion of the story. And therefore, horror, a lot of people think that horror is like not something which is great in terms of, they don't rank it very high. But the true followers of horror understand that horror is the most difficult genre, and which is why people don't try it, because it's a very difficult genre to crack.
It has to play with your emotions and your psyche. That's it. I mean, if it can haunt you psychologically, then it has done the job.
And both me and Gaurav, the creator of the show, we've both grown up on horror, on comic books, on we're both kids from the 90s. We've grown up with the whole world of Korean horror and Japanese horror, and we've watched Ramsey Brothers also. We watched Raat also, and we watch all the horror shows that come out. So we are fans. And horror is something that keeps changing because the technology is advancing so fast that horror keeps changing with it, because like I said, it's a craft oriented thing. So, but having said that, it's not only craft. There has to be a solid emotional core to the story. And Andhera for us was that.
You were saying something about Raat?
No. I just the cat the cat shot in the trailer reminds me of Raat. It's like that was the last film. No, I think Con came after that, but I think I rewatched Raat much later. So
Why
that
would you do
films-
that to yourself?
I don't know, just to explore, I think that was only when I was with my cousins. I need somebody
Yeah,
to watch horror with me, and I'll be like this when I'm watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, horror is more fun when you watch with more people, because you can also, it's a
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And it would be a real horror if you watch it all alone.
Yeah.
So there are shots in the trailer where you're obviously a tough cop, but there are shots where we see you getting scared, out of your wits. So I'm just asking in like good humor, where was that like when you were directing? Was that like, okay, now activate the real Priya? Now you want to see.
No, I think, you know what? I think the whole the atmosphere that was on the set, everybody's intensities on the set, and the fact that we were shooting most of the night shifts helped us in that space.
Yeah.
Because
Because when you're in a sleepless state, when
Exactly.
you're tired, when you're anyways more,
Exhausted
vulnerable,
and
exhausted,
vulnerable.
and when things happen unexpectedly on set. So it would always be slightly unexpected for her, in the sense that she knew what was going to happen, but she didn't know exactly at what time, from which
Yeah.
direction, when.
Yeah.
and sometimes those spontaneous things really help you get the real
Absolutely.
emotion out. So.
Yes, since you shot mostly at night, and the show is called Andhera, I was thinking that we take darkness for granted, because there's light, so there'll be darkness. Like gone are those days where we are scared to walk alone because maybe we always have a phone with us or something like that. So how did you play on that, on having Andhera or darkness as the chief, as the main villain, so to say?
So the inspiration for that is, Bombay is a big city, right? Mumbai is a big city, and in Mumbai, when you walk out in the night, there are lots of lights, but
Yeah.
there are also dark corners.
Yeah.
And everybody is scared to go into the dark for some reason. But what is dark? Dark is just the absence of light, And that absence of light, it's metaphorically, if you think of it, it's like you think of light as hope. And
Yeah.
darkness is despair. So somewhere for us, that was a connection that really worked for us. And the only leap we had to take was, what if this darkness was alive? What if you didn't want to go into the darkness, but the darkness was to come after you? So that was the inspiration. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Wow.
And you know a thing or two about darkness.
I'm glad I'm interviewing with the maker himself, so that all those difficult questions about the script and the content goes right to him, the one who made it.
Yeah. But you know a thing or two about darkness in Mumbai because you made Mumbai Mafia, which was so real and gritty and obviously based on everything was like factual. It was a documentary. Does it take a different muscle to direct a show like this, which is fiction and which is a supernatural fantasy? Is it a bit different?
There are definitely different approaches, but they're both challenging in their own might and very interesting in their own way.
Yeah.
We can talk about Mumbai Mafia separately, but coming back to Andhera, the challenge here was to shoot it because the series it's not like film, it has its own set of challenges, there are very tight constraints, but that is also what makes it an immersive, engaging, a mixed
Intense.
reality kind of experience. You're living your life while you're shooting, while you're creating, you become a part of a family. And in our case, it was a really intense, scared sometimes, angry sometimes, because those emotions kind of, they infect the entire team.
Yeah.
And so it was like we were all infected by Andhera in some way or the other, So that was fun.
Finally, I want to ask you, you've done a lot of Marathi cinema, but in Hindi cinema, we saw a bit of you in early days, like with the Munna Bhai franchise, the two short
You've missed
roles.
2 of my films then, I guess.
No,
Yeah,
no.
Go on with the question.
I'm coming to, in the recent times, I think streaming has really found you, and I think with all the work that you've done on streaming, does streaming really help to break boundaries of regional cinema and reach out to actors who would conventionally not be cast in Hindi cinema?
Oh.
Hmm.
Yes, in a way, and no. Because you still get typecast being cast in a particular way because you come from
In a Maharashtrian
in a
country.
state, or
Yeah.
maybe you speak a particular language, all of that. But I think what matters is the trust that the makers show in you. And I've said this in the past, and I would love to say this again. It's only the writers and the directors, if they trust you with the character, is when you can actually portray it on screen. So I have been blessed with great directors, and I'm also, though I'm saying that Kalpana Kadam is a Maharashtrian character, there are no such traits. I think the film, the show is more important. The character graph is more important. What you get to explore as that character in the show is way more important. And those opportunities have definitely helped and has increased since I shifted to streaming platforms or OTT.
Yeah.
Which I feel that I wouldn't have gotten these opportunities on a Hindi big screen or cinema. But I think I love being the OTT face. I love it because I think people can consume a lot more different type of content, and which may or may not be a family viewing. Like, you don't have to horror. For example, horror.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessary that you have to watch it together with your kids and your husband and
You
wife
have
or
to.
mother. I have to. It's not necessary. If it's your choice, if it's your genre, you can just enjoy it all alone. And I think that really has shaped really well in my career graph so far. So I'm very happy, and I'm blessed to have directors like him trusting me and giving me these characters. So yes.
Looking forward to Andhera.
Thank you.
I don't want to stay in the dark for too long in a good way.